Hello everyone. How's everybody doing today? Today's Sunday, January 3rd, right? Yes, that's the first Sunday of the new year. So happy new year everyone. I'm so glad that you guys are here and continuing our amazing project, which I'm so super blessed to have a lot of amazing people joining me. Hi AJ, welcome. And it's just such a blessing to be able to bring it to you, stories of people who are here to tell a little bit of their story, a little bit of their life, some of their challenges, and I am sure that something that has happened in any of my friends' lives, maybe it's gonna help you in the future. So today we're gonna be talking to Megan Hurley. Yes, she has an amazing, super inspiring story to tell you about. So we're just waiting for her to come. Let me just find her here. So okay, so she can come and join us. So AJ is right here. So if you guys want to ask any questions, feel free to do it. Hi Greg, hello, welcome. Greg is gonna be with us on January 31st. Yes, you have heard it. Greg is gonna be our super interviewer person and on January 31st. So, hello Megan, Megan is here. So let me see how I can put you, how do I join? You need to request to be on the video. Let me see. Okay. It's so funny, you see, AJ shows bring them to camera. Last week, it was easy. It shows that that you're asking to be on the camera, but now I cannot see anything. So let me see how I can do this. Okay. Don't you see like a message that says that you want to join this video? Let's see here. No. Not here either. So you need to request to be on the video, Megan. Let's see. It's so funny because it's not allowing me to add you. Let's see. Do you see it, Megan? A place where let's see. Let me go out and back in. Okay, cool. So AJ says stories. I got stories. My daughters were skateboarding in the living room last night in a dino costume. Oh my God, are you kidding me? Really? Oh wow. How did you? Hola, Josie. Welcome, welcome. So Megan was just trying to get into the camera. So let's wait for her to come back. For some reason, you guys, I think if you join over a computer, that's usually when you have a problem to join the video. Because I think Facebook Live and Instagram were made for mobiles. So that's my guess. That's my guess that that could be the problem. So let's wait until she comes in. I'm doing fine. How about you, Josie? Anything new? Happy New Year, everyone. I'm so happy to have you guys here. Let's just wait for Megan to come back in and see if she can join us. Otherwise, we're gonna try something else, right? You're back. But Megan, I think the reason why is because you're over your computer. any chances that you can join using your phone or a tablet, which I think it's going to be easier. It would show bring them to camera, because there is no way I can invite you. You see, I can only see your comments, but I cannot, from some reason, I cannot invite you to come. And funny to say that I tagged you on the when I started the live. Let's see, because with Josie was so fast. She just came in, papoom, and she was into the live. So, okay, I will do that. No, it's okay, Mama. We have all the time. This is your time, and we are here to wait because your story is an amazing story. So, let's wait until Megan turns her phone or tablet on, which I think it's going to be easier. In the meantime, you guys, if you can invite other people to come and listen and participate, it would be awesome. I sent a reminder on WhatsApp. I'm a whiz at this. Oh, that's right, Josie. Yes, you are, because it was so easy. Coffee, anybody? Yes, it's 4:30 here in Brazil, and I have to drink coffee. It's non-caffeine. Yeah, so I can sleep well, no problem at all. So just think about if you guys have any questions for Megan as the interview goes. If you want to interrupt us and make questions, please do it. So that's what we're here for. We want you guys to interact with her, and it would be so nice to hear from you guys. Oh, you were on your iPad. See, that's why I am on my iPad as well. So I have a feeling that Facebook and Instagram, they work better if you are on a mobile. That's why. So let's wait, and she's coming back, and I have all my questions in here. Of course, the questions are just yeah, I see the request to join on the phone. See, that's why, yeah. So, oh yeah, there she is. Okay. Megan. Okay. Hello, sweetie.
I am so sorry that I didn't do this right. I really apologize.
That's okay. I just noticed about this. That works better on a mobile. So for future interviews, we know what to do.
Well, thank you for this chance, and hi everybody. And again, thank you so much for waiting for me.
It's okay. It's perfect. So tell me a little bit about Megan. I want to know about yourself, a little bit of your background.
Well, I originally grew up in New York, in Westchester County. So my family is from Westchester and White Plains and Manhattan. I grew up in a big family, and half Irish, half Italian. My dad's side's Italian, my mom's side's Irish. We're a very big family, except it's just me and my brother. Can I use a headset?
Yeah, because of the yes, that's right.
Yes, I apologize. Thank you for asking.
It's just like when we are doing our Zoom calls. It's easier when you have the
Right, to block out noise.
yes. Oh yes,
Is that better?
much nicer now. So you're
Great.
saying that you were born in
It's a big family.
yes.
Yeah, it's me and my brother. Steven is a year and a half younger than I am. And he has a little boy now, so I'm an aunt to Elliot. And they live in Washington, D.C. now. but we have lots of aunts and uncles, lots of cousins, lots of second and third cousins, great aunts and uncles. So we're very blessed to have grown up with a big family. My parents really instilled values of family and education with us. My mother is in New York still. She comes out to visit. Well, before COVID, she would come a few times a year, and I would go back a few times a year. My father, our father, passed away 19 years ago when we were in our early 20s of a very sudden aortic aneurysm, which was very hard for us. But again, with being with a very close family and family friends who are just like family, which is why all of you are always, I consider all of you family that came
Very
from
nice.
my
So,
parents.
how was growing up in New York?
It was great. It was, it's funny because my husband's from Connecticut, so both of us are from the East Coast, and I loved it. And we were always in and out of the city because my dad worked there. And my first job actually was in Manhattan. I was working in public relations in the city. So I also commuted in and out. And it's funny because you either love Manhattan or you hate it because it's, too busy, it's too loud and everything. And I absolutely love it. When we moved out to San Diego 14 years ago, I absolutely love it out here, but I still miss the busy, but I love the community and everyone out here.
But you're
And you
saying
never
that you were in the
know.
Westchester County, which is not really in Manhattan. Is it nicer and
It's
easier to live?
Well, it's about 16 miles north of Manhattan.
Okay.
So it's not far. It's a 16-minute drive, 18-minute drive, and most people who live there just take the train in and out of the city, which that I miss, the public transportation. But again, I would go back a few times a year to visit my family and friends.
Do you
So
miss snow?
Yes, I do. We communicate on Zoom a lot. We keep up with that. And again, I FaceTime every single Sunday with my brother, and I get to see my nephew. I got to see him rolling over and learning to walk and then learning to run. And that's really special.
Very nice. So when growing up, what were your biggest dreams?
I had these dreams that I didn't realize were going to change. I grew up, it's funny, you never know when you're younger and when you're a kid. I never really knew what I wanted to do as a career. I knew what I didn't want to do. And I always said, I don't want to be a teacher. I don't like kids, and I don't like kids still. We don't have kids, and I'm not a kid person, which is fine. But I thought, I don't want to be a teacher. And my high school English teachers really didn't inspire me and kind of light that spark for wanting to delve into that critical thinking. And then after going through a few different jobs of not feeling passionate about, I became an English teacher. And that was the absolute
Turning
passion
point.
of my life. And it's funny how that kind of thing happens. I think a big part of that was having gone to Fairfield University in Connecticut, which was a small liberal arts college, a Jesuit one. So it was very big in community service, and education for others, being a person for others, which those were always values that my family instilled and that always mattered to me. So finding that type of atmosphere and being educated in that atmosphere was absolutely the right match for me. When I came out of there, I had those communication skills and was more outgoing. So being able to go from job to find that right match helped me to develop and really feel confident in those different skills.
Very nice.
And those college professors that I had, my English college professors, they lit that fire with me.
That's
To feel
amazing.
like
When we
having that
have people
confidence.
that do inspire us,
Mm-hmm.
it's just amazing. But so you said you knew what you didn't want to. But how did you imagine life? Every kid, they dreams. They keep like when they play with their toys and their dolls, they keep making stories. Were you the kind of kid that makes like a different world?
Not really, because I had so many incredible people in our family and wonderful friends who were just so loving and so supportive all of the time. And that was what my life was about. And I grew up learning and learning in school and learning with about my environment around me. What I always was picturing included family values, included some type of community service, helping for others, whether it be fundraising or giving back to the community in some ways. I knew that that would be part of my life because that was something I grew up with a foundation of being important. But I didn't grow up thinking, I want to be this. I know I'm going to be this. I didn't really feel like that's my vision. It was more of as I developed and as I was learning more and feeling inspired about different things that I said, this is something I feel like I want to do with my life and want to give to others and reach others because this is something I care so much about.
Very nice. So, as approaching adult life, so you went to college, you found a passion, you said, oh my gosh, now I want to become a teacher. How was your first job?
Well, that's what the funny thing is. While I was in college, I was an English major and a biology minor because I loved reading. I loved that critical thinking and analysis, and I loved writing. And I really loved science because my teachers in college were so excited about teaching that and wanted those personal connections with the students that I felt that way about those subject matters. And so many people always say to English majors, what are you going to do with that? And it's so funny because all of us say, we're going to do something. We have skills. And then people said, English and biology, what are you going to do with that? And my first job was pharmaceutical public relations. It matched perfectly.
Interesting. So, you never thought about like going to do pharmacy or to do nursing or something like this?
No, but it's really interesting. As I said, my mom always says I was a serial job quitter because I didn't find the right thing. It took me a while. I was at my first job for a year and a half, and then at that point is when my father got sick. So I left that job because I needed to spend that time and live with my mom and really take that time at that point really for me. It was my first job. I was 21. I needed that time. And it was funny because the next job I found, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I thought about what do I enjoy? What was I good at? And I remembered that in college, I was a tour guide because I loved Fairfield University. And I wanted to be a tour guide because I volunteered to be a tour guide because I wanted to share that excitement with families and with students who were deciding which college would be right for them. So I said, I wonder if there's job openings there. And that's what I did. And I found a college that was looking for an admissions counselor. And
Interesting.
I worked in that. Yeah, I really jumped around trying to find the right thing. And I did that, and I liked it. And I really loved the working with students' part. But I wasn't earning enough money, which was unfortunate. But I had my own apartment at that point. I had my first apartment. And I really just, that I needed to be earning more money to pay my bills. My mom was paying half of my rent to help me. And then it's funny that you said nursing, because this college had a nursing school. So I was starting to learn about nursing. And I found a job through Fairfield an alumnus. And there was a company who helped to place nurses in hospitals. And they needed a marketing director.
Oh my God.
So I really combined all of those skills. And I worked there. But I missed the education connection. I missed the students.
So it was something that was really within you.
That was really missing. And that's when I took a job with the high school, with Convent of the Sacred Heart in Greenwich, Connecticut. And I was a teacher, and I was a guidance counselor. And that's where that passion clicked.
Very nice.
And that's when I knew this is the right thing. And that's actually where I met my husband.
Very nice. What is, when you say a guidance counselor, we don't have this here in Brazil. What does exactly a guidance counselor do? I've seen in movies, but what do they exactly do?
What we did and what we do, there's a few different ways, a few different types of careers with that in the United States. And it's different for different types of schools. We were the college guidance counselors. So what we did is worked with the students and their parents throughout the college search and selection process as they became juniors and seniors, and it was time for them to start looking at what colleges were going to be the right fit for them. We also helped with choosing their classes, their courses that they, to help with their interests, but also matched with their academic skills and what would be the places they would thrive. Depending on, again, the school, there might be an academic dean who helped with that, or some schools, the guidance counselor does all of that, and also does the personal connection. It's that whole thing. What we did, though, was the college process, which is a great way to connect with your students and their families, because it's a big process and it's a big decision at the end of where do you want to go to college, where you're going to be for the next 4 years. Some families have, and it's funny that you said in the movies, because some families are very, very caught up in the name of the college. And they come in freshman year with, I have to go to Harvard, and I have to go to Yale, I have to go to Stanford. And it's the name. And really what made Bob and I connect so much is we have the same philosophy about selecting a college, which is what's the right fit for a student. Really encouraging, where will you be happy for the next 4 years of your life? Where do you think is the right environment for you? And it's not of pushing a specific school, but keeping in mind that's part of the choice.
Very interesting. What were some of the biggest challenges you have gone through? Not yet going into our main subject of the day, but have you gone to some challenges like growing up? You said you had a big family and everything, but were there challenges that you said, I'm going to go through this, I'm strong enough?
Absolutely. Going through the loss of our father was a challenge that we did not see coming. And really, that was such a wild day, because my dad and I would take the train into the city together because he worked in Manhattan. So we took the same train in the morning, and then We'd walk to work together up Park Avenue, and he was only a few blocks up, so he would stop, and then I would keep going a few more blocks up. And that day, I was being reviewed for my first employee review to see about being promoted and get a raise and promotion. And we talked about it that morning. He told me, you have to call. Call me right away, right after your review. I called and didn't get him. And it kind of felt like, why isn't he picking up my phone call? I have to tell him this. I was thinking, really, this is weird. That night was also our company Christmas party. And something just wasn't clicking. I went to go home and said goodbye to my coworkers. And one of them said, okay, like one of my coworkers who I was close with said, you're not going to go home. You're going to come with me. We're going to go to the hospital. And yeah, and I'm thankful to have that support from the people there. And we're going to meet your parents at the hospital. We did, and my father that day wasn't feeling well, so he went to his doctor, and they found an aneurysm. And so his doctor said, you're going to the hospital. And that's how everything started. And what the challenge with that really was trying to keep working full days and then going to the hospital and spending the whole rest of the day at the hospital, then going back to work. And as a 21-year-old, then that lasted for months. That was a challenge, but it was a really big character building capacity and huge bonding with my brother and my mom and the rest of our family, because I really learned what support meant. I learned how to kind of be a professional in learning how to work with doctors and nurses and med school students. So I really learned at a younger age how to make those relationships valuable and learn from them. So as I got older, and I have friends who unfortunately, have family members or friends who had people in their lives who went into the hospital, they were very overwhelmed, of course. And I said, let me share with you what I've learned. So in that way, it was a horrible challenge, but I was able to make what I learned from it something that I could share.
Very nice. And at that time, you hadn't met Bob yet.
No.
So how long afterwards you've met him?
I met him in 2003, so maybe 2.5 years later. We met professionally because I was working for the college at that point as an admissions counselor. So what I would do, my job was to travel to different high schools, meet the guidance counselors, tell them all about the college, find out if their students would be interested, if it was a good fit for them, and let them know about the school, meet some of their students. So I would go a couple of times a year. And, we stayed in touch professionally. He had told me that the following year they'd be looking for a second counselor because the school would be getting a bigger incoming class. And when I was leaving that marketing job, I remembered that. And I called to say, this is Megan Laconey from College in Rochelle. I don't know if you remember me, but I remember that you were looking for a second counselor. Did you fill that job? Are you still looking for one? And everything lined up. They still hadn't filled that position. So I went for an interview, and it turns out that they were looking to fill that counselor role, but also needed someone to be teaching.
Nice.
And it was teaching science, which I had my minor in. Everything just worked out. It was hard at first because it was new to be on the high school side, but it was a lot of work, and it was worth it because that's where I found my passion for the students and the classroom. And after a few months, that's when we started dating, and we were the right match.
Very
And we
nice.
got engaged, and we had our 16th anniversary in November.
Very nice. So, how long after getting married you guys moved to San Diego?
A year and a half later,
Oh, it
because
was
he had gone to graduate school at University of San Diego. And then right after that, the job opened up at this school in Greenwich, and he's from Stanford originally. So he went back for that job, but he kept the condo in San Diego to keep coming back to spend the vacations, the summers, everything here. So after we got engaged and got married and everything, we would come and not visit, but we would spend the vacations and the summers out here, and just liked it so much. And after one more winter, I said, I'm done. I can't do the winters anymore. We've got to go out there. So we gave the school notice. We did another academic year and found jobs out here before we moved.
very nice. So, within 4 years of you moving to San Diego and starting a new life and newly married, something happened. And what was this turning point in your life that it was really like, I was born again? Tell us.
That was very subtle that you happened to, we talked ahead of time. In 2008, July 2008, I was in a library. I was working on my master's degree. I was in the library with a friend, looking up some books and resources. I had my very first seizure. We don't know why. Doctors still don't know why. We stopped looking, trying to find an answer for that. I had my very first seizure, and I was standing there. So I was having the convulsions. I fell backwards and fractured my skull, started to bleed into my brain. The librarian called 911. My friend took my phone and called Bob. They raced me to the hospital, and I learned all of this later. I don't remember any of this. In the ambulance, I continued to have the seizures and slipped in and out of a coma. They brought me to the hospital and directly into the surgical ICU, intensive care unit. Bob got to the hospital after I went in there, so he couldn't see me right away. He had to stay in the waiting room for 6 hours. In the surgical ICU, the seizures didn't stop. So the doctors had to induce a coma so that I didn't lose the brain function completely. I was in the coma for 3.5 days with the brain swelling from the bleeding. And the doctors had said, we don't know what the prognosis is going to be. If the brain bleeding doesn't stop and doesn't go down, we have to perform surgery to drain it. We can let it go another day to see if it goes down on its own. They also said that with this type of injury, there would be a 28% chance that I would come out of the coma. The good thing that I had in my favor is that I was young and I was strong. I was 29 at that time. Usually with that injury, people are much older because they fall and their bodies aren't as strong. I was in the coma and I was still having seizures. My arms were going up and down. Very fortunately, I started to wake up, so they didn't have to perform the surgery. I was moved down to the step-down unit. They were able to extubate me to take the respirator off because I could breathe on my own. The really worst part about all of this is my mom had just been visiting from New York.
Oh, so she was
She
there.
was, no, see, that's the thing. She was here for 2 weeks.
Oh, she had just left.
She was on the airplane. She was flying. I had just driven her to the airport. And then I went to meet my friend at the library. She had just gotten home. She'd just gotten off the plane, and my husband called her and said, "You have to come back. Megan had an accident." She had to go back, pack her suitcase because the next flight available was the following morning. So she was on the airplane the entire time while I had just gone into a coma. And I thank God I had driven her to the airport when I did, because this happened like 20 minutes later.
Wow.
So I was not driving, and I was off the road, so I didn't have an accident and hurt anybody. So my mom was there in the hospital there at that point, but I just can't imagine how awful that was for her to be on the airplane the whole time, having to wait to get to see me. Then, as apparently I woke up, I was in the hospital for another few days. Again, they didn't have to do the surgery, but the doctors told Bob and my mom that when I woke up, they didn't know what my outcomes would be. They didn't know, but they prepared them for either that I would have some paralysis somewhere or some type of severe mental setback. But we just had to wait and see. Very, very fortunately, I feel very blessed every single day that oh, Lonnie, you are so sweet. I'm seeing some of the comments.
Yeah, rock star.
I feel very blessed, and I did not have the paralysis. And apparently, the first thing I said is, "I want a donut." And then I said, "I desire to be satiated." So I'm thirsty. So my mental function and the physical function was stronger than they anticipated. My deficits were not and are not as severe as they should have been. I do still have, it's a traumatic brain injury, and that's what has resulted from the accident. This was back in 2008. It's been 12 years. I was not as in good shape as I am now, though. I would not be able to be here doing this interview at all. Having a traumatic brain injury changes everything in your life immediately. And when you come out of the hospital, they don't help you. They don't give you a manual of how to live your life. They brought me in a wheelchair to the hospital curb and put me in the car
And goodbye.
with Bob and said, "Go home." We had to figure this out on our own. And we did.
And how was like the first couple of months? Like you coming back?
No, I was bedridden because nothing was working. My body had been sleeping, and my brain had been sleeping. I didn't have the strength. I couldn't function. I was bedridden for the first couple of months. I remember the first day that I was able to stand up by myself. My mom stayed until I was a little bit stronger. She stayed. I got out of bed and I was able to walk down the hall a few feet in our condo complex. and my mom and Bob were in the dining room, and they heard this noise of this kind of like shuffling, and they didn't know what it was. They came to see what it was, and it was me kind of shuffling myself a few steps down the hallway. And when things change in your life, the concept of victories, you reframe that. And that's okay. All of a sudden, a victory doesn't mean a promotion. It doesn't mean you reach a giant goal. It doesn't mean you get a giant raise. A victory means you get one step stronger, literally step by step. And that is something you can appreciate forever.
Absolutely. So the first year, what were the biggest challenges for you as the patient, for you as you don't know anything else? What's
It was learning. It was learning about traumatic brain injuries, and it was learning everything about it. It was feeling helpless, feeling hopeless, because we didn't know if this was going to stay this way forever. We didn't know what this was going to mean. I was having seizures regularly. The deficits that I do have, I have a seizure disorder now. I have balance problems that are much better now, but that are not solved. They are still
a
part of the
challenge?
disabilities. I have cognitive and retention problems that do not come across as much in talking, but in reading and writing. That's where it is. That's where it shows. So when I try to write something, it will take from hours to a few days to put a few sentence email together. But I'm okay with that because everything should have been and could have been much worse.
Absolutely.
And I've also connected with a lot of brain injury survivors worldwide, which helps with the learning about everything. And that support of feeling like you're the only one, and am I doing something wrong in not being able to be as strong? And that's not true. So where I feel like I'm weak, that's not it. I am strong because I am living.
Absolutely.
And I'm thriving with a brain injury. And that is a big deal because what I'm able to do is share my journey, share my story, which I do because I want to give back. I want to help inspire other people who are having this challenge and feel alone, because not enough people, there's no talking about it in the sense from the media. There's no public figure who is willing to come forward about brain injury. There's no celebrity who's willing to share their fight. Everybody shares their journey on their own timeline if they choose to, which is fine. But this is not talked about publicly enough, which is why people feel alone. That's why I choose to do this. The two ways especially that have brought me forward and that drive me every day. I didn't receive any physical therapy, occupational therapy,
Oh, I was going
speech
to
therapy,
ask you,
anything.
nothing.
No, absolutely
Because you were
nothing.
getting better by yourself, like because you fought for life, so things were
I did.
coming back
Well,
slowly.
I fought for everything. I went through neurologist after neurologist because all of us in life, you don't have to learn about something until you have to learn about it. So I never knew anything about finding a neurologist. until I had to. So when the hospital recommended a specific neurologist and said, oh, this is one of the best ones in the county, I went to go see that one. And the first 2 years, he gave me the wrong medication. It wasn't the medication that was recommended to help people with traumatic brain injury seizures. It was the medication for people who are born with epilepsy. We didn't know that at the time. He told me I was faking my seizures to get my husband's attention. He told me that I was like the boy who cried wolf. I was the girl who cried seizure, and that people were just going to stop helping me.
What kind of doctor? My gosh.
We left that day because my husband comes to every single neurology appointment with me to help me, support me, and to take notes because I get confused with trying to keep track of everything. I signed the form saying mail me my medical records. I got a 2-inch thick folder. I read it, and not once was the brain injury mentioned, which taught me that I needed to find a TBI specialist neurologist because I needed to be my own healthcare advocate.
And how did you find it?
That's what I did. I went through a few different neurologists, and they still didn't believe me. And that was frustrating, and there were definitely times that I felt really defeated. I never questioned, and my husband and my family and my friends never questioned that I was faking this, if this was not real. I knew my body. I knew there was something wrong, and I was doing the research. And we finally found the right doctor. We found a TBI specialist who was in our insurance, who wasn't a few years prior. And it was the doctor who was in the emergency room the night that I went in.
Wow.
And I have been with him ever since. The very first thing he did, he recognized me right away, which I didn't think would happen. And he said, Miss Hurley, I never thought I'd see you standing here. We sat down. The very first thing he did was pull up my brain scan from the night I went into the hospital. All of those doctors had access to it, and none of them did it. He prescribed the #1 leading drug for seizure medication for TBI survivors, and my seizures were cut in thirds within a week and a half.
Perfect.
I've been with him ever since, and that is the right doctor because I fought for myself. And that's one of the reasons that I share that part of my story, is to try to help other people that they can fight for themselves and that it's okay to stand up for yourself, because I didn't know that. The hardest thing is a brain injury is an invisible disability because I look normal. You can't see my brain. And I am constantly having to prove that I have a disability because no one can see it. And there are good brain injury days and bad brain injury days, which you and I talked about beforehand. And I said to you, I need to tell you my story ahead of time because when we log on today, I might have a bad brain injury day and not be able to focus or keep track or have the energy to do this. And I won't know that until I wake up that day.
So every day is a new day.
Every day is, and there are days I wake up and I don't know where I am.
Wow.
And that is regular with brain injury survivors, is a bad day we don't know. The problem is you see me on a good day. So every day that you see me, it's a good TBI day, which is why I look normal. You don't see me on the days that I can't get up. You don't see me on the days that I need to stay in bed every day. Because I can't do that. I'm not going to go out and interact those days. I can't. This happens regularly. I only have the energy physically and mentally to be able to do one thing per day. This is my thing today. I've been resting ever since I woke up. And after this, I'm getting back in bed because it's called neurofatigue. What happens is your brain gets exhausted for your body. And people have a very hard time understanding that. And they'll say, well, yeah, I get tired too. And it's like, no, 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 no.
It's a different
It's not getting
tired.
tired. It's a different tired. It's my brain. And they'll say, and these are the kinds of things that I talk about because I want to help with educating about brain injury. When I lose track of things and when I zone out and when I get frustrated with myself because I can't try to say what I'm trying to communicate, people will say, and it's meant out of good support to try to make me feel not alone. People will say, oh, well, I forget things too. And it's no, don't say that, because I'm not forgetting things too. It's that my brain is not forming those thoughts, those memories.
It doesn't
to
process,
forget.
right?
Yes. And our social lives are different. Things are overwhelming that never were. For example, if it is especially a bad TBI day, I can't have visitors. I can't have a bunch of phone calls. I can't do Zooms that were planned because, again, I can't predict if I'm going to have the mental energy for it. And that's something that people don't understand until I've already spoken to them about it. And then my friends and family do understand that I'm going to have to say, I can't go to that. I can't log on today. I can't handle it. My brain can't handle it because that will make me have a seizure. That will make me have a panic attack. And it's different than anything that someone with a non-injured brain experiences. It's not, don't use the word, oh, I have a normal brain, you have brain injury. It's not normal brain. It's, I have an injured brain, you have a non-injured brain. So please don't take offense if I can't handle a surprise plan. There are times I can't handle a regular plan because my
I'm
my
so
brain is
glad that
not
you're
able to
explaining
support it.
this. And I've told you before, because I had this situation with a very good friend of mine. And knowing and hearing from you, because now we are very close friends, and I did not know it at the time. And I was this kind of person who used to say, come on, this is not like this. Come on. And because we don't know, I mean, as much as you try to understand, to be supportive, if you don't see it, it's not happening until you learn
You
about
see
it
it.
and you
Yeah.
see it. And I'm so glad that you came to my life and enlightened me about everything, because now I know. And like I told you, I sent a message to this friend of mine and apologizing for all these years of not understanding. And hopefully one day she's going to forgive me too, because now I understand. So,
And that's what it is. It's not that you were not enlightened. It's not that you were being insensitive. It's just we learn. And I'm always learning. And that's why I am part of so many brain injury support groups. And I am always learning from my doctors and from other people, because all of us are always learning and we all have different experiences, different reactions. And one of the ways, the way that you and I met is when I started to build my body up, because I did not get physical therapy or occupational therapy, and I finally was able to not be bedridden. I needed to build my energy back up, my strength back up. It was funny. I took my first Zumba class. I had no idea what it was, but I was able to walk to the Y next door because I still can't drive because I have a seizure disorder, and that's fine. I shouldn't be driving because I would never want to hurt someone.
Of course.
I never liked group fitness classes because I never wanted to feel like, oh, people are watching and oh, you have to do it right, because I was never good at it. I went down the list of classes and just, I wasn't strong enough to be able to do anything, the right way. Zumba's the last one on the list. I walked in and I went in the very back row. The only step I could do was just step, touch, very minimally. And everyone was smiling. And everyone was so inclusive. And the instructor was so happy. And the music was so uplifting. And this was something I had never experienced. And it was so positive. And that was the first moment I had felt like a person and not a patient. And I wanted to go back, and I went back. And people remembered me, and, oh, how you doing? Oh, it's so fun. I'm so glad you came back. You were so light and so bright last time. Yeah, come stand next to me. And I never imagined that would happen, especially it being so early in my journey. So what I did is I actually, a year later, became licensed as an instructor, just as a personal goal. And then a year after that, started teaching my own classes, and free of charge. And I do a lot of the Zumbathon charity events, which raise money for any nonprofit, any charity, that you choose, because I wanted to give back for what Zumba does for me, what it did for me, because it gave me my life back in so many ways, and I wanted to share that, and it brought me back to teaching. I found a different way to teach.
And how long have you been a Zumba instructor?
11 years.
Wow. Oh my God. So it was kind of like within a year after the accident.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then the other thing that's a huge passion in my life, and it's another international program, is Toastmasters, which I know there are some people who are familiar with.
I don't know what it is.
Toastmasters is another nonprofit volunteer program. I didn't know what it was either. And the very ironic part is one of my friends from Zumba said, you know what, you should come to a Toastmasters meeting with me. I'm just going to pick you up tomorrow morning. Just come. I said, I don't know what that is. She said, no, you're going to like it. Really, the funny part, her best friend is Eliza Stone, who trained me to get my license in Zumba.
Oh, so you did with Alyssa Stone. Oh, very nice.
Yeah, and then how funny is that my friend who brought me to Toastmasters, that's her best friend in the world. So it's a very, very small world with Zumba and Toastmasters. Toastmasters is just, again, it's a volunteer or organization that it's all about community building and confidence building and inclusive and fun and, increasing your communication skills. For me, I joined because I had a story to tell. I wanted to share that story, and I wanted to learn how to be able to craft and create what my message was and be able to deliver it in a positive and inspiring way. And I've met incredible people. Lonnie, who wrote in the beginning, I met him through Toastmasters. Zoom has been incredible because I've been able to travel to meetings all over the world. And it's the perfect match as Zumba is. It's a passion of mine, and I meet incredible people, and everyone is there to inspire and be positive and be inclusive.
And we're so blessed to have you in our lives. I am personally, I say, because I've been learning so much with you, And like I told you, I've been studying to be a holistic therapist.
Yeah.
And I also am a medical assistant, and I'm passionate about anything in regards to health. And funny to say, whenever I'm studying anything that it is about brain and neurology, it's something that I always ace on it, that I love it. And, you know, maybe there is something in the future, you know, that I'll be working with, you know, I don't know.
I want to learn about that because, again, I want to learn as much as I can. Always. It's not like, oh, and I want to say to everyone here, I am not a medical expert in this at all. And I'm not speaking for everyone who's experienced a traumatic brain injury at all. I'm speaking for myself, my journey, and what I have learned. And that's important, and I should have said that in the beginning. So I don't want anyone to take this as expertise, and that's important. You know, the other thing that I've been inspired to do and that I've learned as places that I can help are resources also, like the San Diego Brain Injury Foundation. That's in the community. So I volunteer with them and I help mentor new survivors. The Project Athena Foundation is an incredible resource. They help build up women who've endured life-altering medical traumas and help to build you up to the warrior you were before your accident. The Peer Support Network, I actually am on the board of because we help to build up people who are living with acquired traumas.
Interesting. How do you
And
see
those are ways that
yourself?
I can give back.
And how do you see yourself in 5 years? And how do you see yourself in 20 years?
The way that I see myself is to hopefully keep learning. And really my goal, I want to be a motivational and inspirational speaker in communities, whether it be about brain injury, but really my message is bigger than that. I really believe and I want to speak to adversity, and that what I have to say is for everybody, because all of us have dealt with challenges of any sort, and we want to believe that we can overcome. And I believe that we can overcome, and I want people to really, really know that we can prevail and keep winning on the other side. And that is something that is a choice, and that we do it with support. And that there are things that happen in our lives that are out of our control, and that they don't have to follow us forever. We don't just have 1 minute, one moment that has to define us. We get to write our stories. And we get to move forward with that optimism and hope that builds communities.
Absolutely.
That's what I want to be doing. I want to do that for as long as I can.
I'm glad.
Because that's what I feel is part of what I'm really meant to do. It also is another new way that brings me back to teaching. But it's really in my heart.
I'm glad.
And one of the things I feel so blessed to be able to be here live with you.
I am blessed to have you talking with all of us and sharing your story, because like I said, everybody has a story. We never know if your story is inspiring other people, if everybody that has been that I have interviewed, everybody has a story. You never know. So tell me, to finish, a quote or a saying that you live by.
For me, I live by, I honestly really feel that we are limitless. I have never met a survivor of anything who is limitless. And we can believe it, and we can build anything.
Absolutely.
Because hope survives.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, Megan, for being
you, and thank
here.
everybody for being here also.
I really, really appreciate.
Lots of love.
Guys, this live is going to be saved here on my Facebook. Also, I'll be downloading and uploading on YouTube, and I'm going to send Megan the link, so she's going to be able to share. And next week, I'm going to be interviewing a great friend of mine for years and years, Geet Patel. She is from Connecticut, and we've been friends for such a long time, and she has a beautiful story to tell you guys too. So tune in next Sunday, January 10th at 2:30 Eastern Time and 4:30 p.m. Brazil time. So thank you so much. And yes, Megan.
I want to just say this project that you've built is incredible.
Thank you.
And it gives to so many people, and it is an honor and a pleasure to be part of it. Greg, yes, it is so cool. But I can't wait to hear you too. And it's, you know what this is? This is bringing all of us together. That's what's so amazing.
But that's,
and I want to thank
that's what
Hi,
this is, I think, one of the goals is to bring people together. Agatha from Italy is here too.
I love it. I know.
Yes.
There's Agatha.
Yeah. So this is amazing. So thank you so much again. And
thank you,
I love you, my friend. And
I love you.
I see you Friday for our weekly meeting. And I want to hear more about
everybody for coming on.
Please send us the Toastmaster information.
I will.
Yes, I think this probably can help other people too.
Yeah, it's absolutely wonderful.
Okay,
and I'm so happy to be here today, and thank you guys all. Have a wonderful, wonderful week.
Yes, a blessed week. This is our first Sunday of 2021, a promising year. And I'll see you guys next week, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you so much. I love you. Bye-bye, sweetie.
Love you too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.